Okay? Oh my fucking Lord. This is hopefully going to be the last time we talk about these dumbass fucking truckers. Okay. Is there a good story about this? Well, here, let's get started on this one. Stop censuring them. Censuring. These guys are fucking losers, dude. The Ottawa chief of police has now stepped down. Peter Slowly resigns. The Ottawa chief of police chief says force now better position to end this occupation. Slowly was roundly criticized over the Ottawa Police Service's response to the protest. 2 years ago, he took on this role to challenge, to deliver change. Together, we brought forward a renewed focus on neighborhood policing, overhauled the Ottawa police service culture, and built a service that better reflects the diversity of the community we serve. I've literally never heard anyone in the real world talk about them, Lamau. Yeah, it's just like another media fancy story, you know? Slowly's resignation comes as a source tells CBC News he's been accused of bullying and volatile behavior that has damaged relationship with senior leadership and compromised the force's ability to cope with the truck protests. Yeah, the only thing that the fucking police force is coping with is how much they want to literally protest alongside the truckers that they are now supposedly stopping, okay? That's it. That's the real cope. Because they're like, oh no, I would love to go protest with them, but I can't take time off. My police chief won't let me take time off to go protest alongside these fucking hogs, eh? I mean, dude, here. Let's look. This has been ongoing for the longest time. There's always like some fucking weirdos in here that like try to tell me that this is actually 100% without a doubt a real working class organized labor movement, and it's not like total fucking fake phony bullshit. Okay. Once again, I love videos like this. Here is the Coots police honoring, greeting, and hugging the truckers who've blocked the U.S.-Canada border for 18 consecutive days. Have you ever seen RCMP treat the fucking any other protester with this kind of fucking attitude? No. Okay. Remember, I got to point something out here. Okay. Listen, here's what I got to tell you. First of all, yeah, the hog hug, dank hog, which is awesome. Here's what I got to point out. Yes, the Canadian police by and large is nowhere near as aggressive or as ruthless as the American police force. This is true. Okay. Even in their most vile and most horrifyingly violent, they are still not as violent as the average fucking beat cop on any given moment. Okay? That's just the truth. Sorry, Canadians. Even though RCMP is super racist against Indigenous people and they're super violent against Indigenous people, even in their most violent, they're still literally like, they're nowhere near as violent as the American police force is on a regular basis to the communities that they police. Just the truth. Having said that though, I must point out that they are way nicer to these fucking hogs than they are to the Indigenous protesters, the water protectors. They are way fucking nicer to these hogs than they are to people protesting for homeless people in their communities. Okay? Do you think there's any way that they could lead to positive labor action? Like, I know this particular instance is fake dog shit, but could all the media attention inspire people to add to the rising tension and kind of fuel fires for real labor action in the future? No. If anything, this is the exact opposite of that. This vilifies labor action, like real fucking labor action, by falsely conflating it with like a bunch of fucking spoiled hogs crying about fucking the vaccine mandates. Okay? It's the exact opposite, because real labor action is occurring all around us, both in America and in Canada. But the problem is you never hear about it in the media for the most part, because this is, one, astroturf to oblivion, and two, this is the only kind of fucking real labor action you'll ever see. This is not a, stop comparing them, stop saying Indigenous struggle under the RCMP isn't as bad as the USA. What does that accomplish? Well, what that accomplishes for the Americans that are looking at cops and thinking, oh, well, they're just, this is how Canadian cops are. It's for them to understand that, like, no, they're still incredibly fucking brutal to First Nation protesters, but it's not as brutal by and large as how American police forces react in a way more fucking violent capacity. It's just the truth. I agree. I've been feeling this in AstroTurf protests, but how do you know? They hacked the fucking Christian. They hacked like the Christian website or whatever, and 56% of the 56% donations are coming in from America, and not only that, but like there were multiple $200,000+ donations. No average fucking citizen is spending $200,000 on a protest like this. People be mad at you for saying that and don't realize that nobody else is even acknowledging that they're brutal to Indigenous people at all. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make it all right, for the record. It's just, God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, dude, Canadians who want to be like just as patriotic as Americans, like, they're so gross to me. Like, you're just LARPing. Like, you want to be as hog-like as our dumbasses, and it just like pisses me off. Like, at least you have fucking healthcare, dipshit. Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you, guys. Ugh. Reminds me of a Chevy commercial. It's just fucking nasty. Bunch of nasty fucking hogs. Okay. So yeah, I mean, fuck the Canadian national anthem. All national anthems are dog shit for the most part. I mean, to be fair, the USSR national anthem is like all right. The Turkish national anthem is like dog shit too, straight up. It's not good. It doesn't slap. Here, the donor site linked to Canada Trucker, the Canada Trucker protest has been hacked. And visitors to the Give Send Go website were redirected to a separate domain, Give Send Gone, which showed a video loop from the Disney animated film Frozen. The video included captions criticizing the site and its donors as grifters and hatriots. The hack was first reported by Daily Dot journalist Mikhail Talin. According to The Verge, the names, email addresses, zip codes, and country of origin of some 93,000 donors was leaked to the hosting website called Distributed Denial of Secrets, DDoS. More than half of those donors are based in the United States. 56% of those donors that donated to Give Send Go, the Christian website that obviously did not have good protection, were able to were coming in from America. Don't you think that that's fucking weird? Isn't that? Oh, they also RCMP arrested a dozen people and seized the cache of guns at the Alberta border blockade. Look at that. Those are heavily illegal in Canada, by the way, for the record. This is the most amount of guns that I've ever seen in Canada. And these are illegal. I wonder where those guns came from. I wonder where those guns in Mexico come from. Those magazines are illegal. RCMP has arrested a dozen people tied to the blockade near the U.S.-Canada border in southern Alberta after seizing a cache of guns and ammunition. Wait, what? Truck carrying 2,000 firearms allegedly stolen in Peterborough, Ontario. Police say, wait, what? Local police say determined the alleged theft happened about 4 hours earlier. So they say the incident involves firearms and clips. They don't believe there was any ammunition on the truck. Oh, okay. Never mind then. It's just lethal aid, why don't you? Fellers, it's just lethal aid. I don't understand. American reactionaries fact check. Strong majority of Canadians oppose convoy protests. Poll after poll finds. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. But also, the Emergencies Act is, from what I understand,
the rowdy backdrop.
The Emergencies Act being utilized in this way where like they can just fucking access your bank account and like put a halt on your bank account is fucked up.
For these protests obscures a threat that Canadian officials say is real. This movement, they say, now in its third week, is a threat to public safety.
Hold on, I'll be back in 1 second.
It is now clear that there are serious challenges to law enforcement's ability to effectively enforce the law.
In an historic move, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act for the first time. And while he said it will be limited geographically and in scope, it will allow for stronger enforcement. The protests right across the country, especially at border crossings, have proven to be determined and apparently potentially dangerous.
This is not a peaceful protest.
Police in Alberta allege a small group within the protests had a stash of weapons and were willing to do harm at the Alberta-Montana border if attempts were made to disrupt the blockade. And the war of words spills out daily on Ottawa's streets. Differences on COVID pitting protesters against residents.
I mean, there's people here that traveled across the country. If you want to talk to real people,
he knows everything. He's awesome. He's from Alberta, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I'm from.
Yeah, they're destroying Canada, but.
You know what? Talk to someone who's lost their job. Talk to someone who's lost their business, and we'll give you a clear perspective on what's going on here. We don't want to be in Ottawa. We don't want to be in your backyard.
You'll get the real picture from him. He took it from Facebook too.
The people from around this country have come here because we want to stand up for our freedom, and we will stand up for our freedom.
The so-called quest for freedom has made many of those downtown feel like they're in a noisy, chaotic prison.
To shut down the city, to harass and intimidate local residents to this extent, I wouldn't have thought that the police and the government would allow it.
And so Trudeau is saying enough. Now, while he says the military won't be called in, he is using more enforcement power and imposing stiff financial penalties, which could bankrupt some protesters and risks further inflaming an already tense situation.
Yeah, the usage is akin to the usage of back-to-work legislation and the essentialization of the economy. I don't like the protesters and believe there are less authoritarian ways of dealing with this. Regardless, labor action will continue to get fucked by CDN law. What is this? This has got to be bait. Breaking, the hackers leaked the identities of 92,000 donors who supported the Canadian anti-vax truckers with $8.7 million through a Christian crowdfunding website. At least one American billionaire has been implicated. Retweet to thank the hackers for exposing these dangerous people. Wait, dude. Occupy Democrats is fucking brazy, okay? They're crazy. I don't understand. Like, I just feel like, sometimes I feel like it's an op to just like make liberals look fucking even more insane than they actually are. Why are you so scared to speak up about this? Trudeau is the secret son of Fidel Castro and a sleeper communist agent that will outlaw Timbits and maple syrup. It's true.
the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payments.
Nah, dude. Nope. That's not appropriate. It's not appropriate, dude. That's fucked up. I mean, they'll fucking use this against strike funds. They'll use this against like whoever they declare terrorists. Any kind of like elimination of due process is completely unacceptable. Also, isn't Chrystia Freeland the granddaughter of a Nazi collaborator? Isn't this the Ukrainian? Isn't this literally the fucking Ukrainian Nazi granddaughter? Straight up. Just saying. Literally, just, you know, who. Hey, he was a newspaper man. Yeah, a newspaper that wrote the fucking coordinates of Jews. You know, just that exposed where the Jewish people were to the Nazis that were, you know, so they could go round them up. The sins of the grandfather? Yeah, except the difference is like, you're right, unless you're also continuing and hiding it up or covering it up and hiding it and then saying that it's actually Russian disinformation. When it's exposed to be true. Okay. Stay out of Canadians' business and let him bankrupt these hogs, lol. No, guys. It feels good. A Ukrainian Nazi collaborator, yes. There's also a Victims of Communism giant memorial in Ontario with Nazi SS members buried there. Yeah, I saw that. People are going to get pissed at you for saying that, but I think it's fucking hilarious. Lock up the funds, my guy. Fuck those protesters. Okay, guys. Guys, listen to me. It feels good to see your ideological enemies, especially like ones who are such spoiled little fucking entitled hogs. It feels good to see them get fucking owned, okay? It feels good to see them get owned, except this level of action being taken against like any kind of movement will ultimately absolutely hurt leftist mobilization. Okay? Because they're gonna do that. They're 100% gonna use this. Agree with Nora Laredo's critique on the Emergency Act in response to the Freedom Convoy. Police cannot be the cause and solution to all of society's problems. Don't let the narrative become this ridiculous Simpsons quote. What was it? They create radicalizing conditions that produce both good communal solidaristic reactions and also bad, atomized, antisocial, violent reactions. If want that money to fight the convoy, and that is a big if, as liberals benefit from their extremism, we cannot treat this issue as individuals with individual response and repressions. It will not work. I mean, I agree with that too, but my immediate reaction whenever I see this, my immediate reaction when I see stuff like this is like, this could be so easily and will so easily be weaponized against like actual leftist labor union organizing and real activism. I mean, these guys already bop heads of indigenous protesters, you know, fucking water defenders, water protectors, and people who defend indigenous land. They already fucking beat the shit out of them. You think they're not going to do all of this too? I mean, come on. It's a temporary measure. The argument it will hurt leftism doesn't make sense. They don't need this to shut down indigenous protests. They just send in the RCMP and wreck them. Always, this is for a specific situation where the police aren't doing anything. I think levy them with fucking fines. Like, that's precisely what you're supposed to do. Like, getting in, calling them terrorists, and then calling this action terroristic, and then pulling funding without due process is not good. It's not good at all.
Service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets such as cryptocurrencies. The illegal blockades have highlighted the fact that crowdfunding platforms and some of the payment service providers they use are not fully captured under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. Our banks and financial institutions are already obligated to report to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FINTRAC. As of today,
I don't know. I've become less convinced by what if they abuse this policy law as a class of arguments because it can be used for almost anything. Dude, I don't trust the government on who they declare to be a terrorist and having legal precedent to fucking say, well, you're a terrorist, we're seizing your funds. Like, that's terrible, dude.
all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use.
Like, why don't they just like whoop their asses, dude? I don't understand. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? You're like a physical presence. Whoop their fucking asses, dumbass. What is this? Just like give him a little ass whooping, dude. Like a little bit. Like just as a treat. They want to be fucking victims.
Must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC. This will help mitigate the risk that these platforms receive illicit funds, increase the quality and quantity of intelligence received by FINTRAC, and make more information available to support investigations by law enforcement into these illegal blockades. We are making these changes because we know that these platforms are being used to support illegal blockades and illegal activity, which is damaging the Canadian economy. The government will also bring forward legislation to provide these authorities to FINTRAC on a permanent basis. Second, the government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution...
Any punishment could potentially be weaponized against leftist protesters. Ultimately, if the government wants to brutalize people, they'll do it whether there's precedent or not. I mean, well, I'm talking about something that the government already does, which is whoop ass, right? Like they already quite literally whoop the fucking living shit out of leftist protesters on a regular basis. So like do a little bit of that instead of like grossly expanding on what you think is acceptable and appropriate to do. You know what I mean? Just like a little bit of ass whooping, just like a little baby bit.
Institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal...
Have you supported your trans viewers today by being still unlocked for 2 hours about how much you support trans issues? Wait, what does that even mean? I don't know if I should ban this person or not. All right, let's continue.
And corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith.
The fuck?
Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades. This is about following the money. This is about stopping the financing of these illegal blockades. We are today serving notice. If your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen.
Read what the guy who tweeted this video said. Yeah, I know. Maxime Bernier, my favorite chef de popular leader of the People's Party of Canada. Maxime Bernier, the racist who said, you know, the Bloc Québécois is not racist enough. I need to be way more racist. I can be way more racist than you. He said, Freeland gives herself extraordinary powers to follow the money and freeze your bank account. Oui, it won't be temporary. This is a basic feature of the Chinese-style social credit system to be able to shut you out of society if you're a saint. Wait. People from Quebec hate him, bro. No, I know. What QAnon followers believe now?
I do believe.
Fuck. Mon ami, mon chéri. The use of these powers to deal with protests is an attack on our right to assemble, even if we absolutely oppose protests. I feel this way. Straight up. No, it took a few hundred occupiers in 2 locations to approach the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to invoke the Emergency Act, marking the first time it has ever been used. And in doing so, he hands the trucker convoy what they want, undisputed proof that the state is using its heaviest hand to break their movement. If they're all cleared tomorrow, they'll roll across the country to get home, itching to use this decision to rally more supporters to their cause. It must be said, use of the Emergencies Act isn't necessary to deal with the convoys. City tow trucks and bylaw enforcement are enough. Even moving the camps off of major arteries and isolating them into adjacent parks and parking lots could have been an option. In Windsor, Ontario, police could have removed the border blockade minutes after it started. Instead, it lasted for 6 days. That's where they fucked up. What? Crypto Land? Have you seen the Crypto Land sneak
This is
peek?
me.
Bro, I watched this with Felix like literally weeks ago.
Come on in.
The worst thing that has ever happened. I mean, fuck the kitty gloves. Like, I think people are misunderstanding me. For the record, like, I want cops to be punished. I want cops that are not taking the appropriate action to stop this shit from going on to be punished. Do your fucking job, dog. Do your goddamn job. Like, if a YouTube streamer or a YouTuber decides to, like, go fucking riot in a place, cops come in and they stop it, right? There's a difference between adequate, legitimate protests that are for a good cause, and they abso-fucking-lutely beat asses when that happens. Ottawa Towing Company threatened to not helping police with trucker convoy. Yeah, that's another part of the problem. Is that the tow guys are also hogs, so they're like, I'm not doing it. The tow business owners, especially, are also petite bourgeois dickheads. So they're like, oh no, I love what these guys are doing. Who defines what's good? I do, motherfucker. I do. I get to decide what is good and what is not good. How about that?